Thank you so much, everybody who is here. This is my brand, but I am going to take it off simply because it's easier to handle it. I have to first tell, my name is Noor, the editorial director for Businessworld, as Johnny said. I have to first tell everybody that I have not let them prepare. I did not let them, so whatever you're going to hear from them today, it's more like the spot examinations, and I think it's going to be fun. The background was that we did our research, what are the things that people are talking about, and there have been some interesting, for want of a better word, upsets in the last year. Now, what did that mean for marketers? And that's why we are here. So, I don't know how to start this, but shall we just directly get into this, or shall we first just take a look, agree or disagree that the year had its surprises? How many of you agree?
It's good that we have surprises, otherwise it would be boring.
Great. Now they agree that we have surprises, right? So tell me, and you know this we will, anybody can take it from the panel. One thing, one piece of advice or one piece of information or insight, which if you had a year ago, you would have done something differently in your marketing decisions this year. Who wants to go first? Any piece of insight or information that if you had a year ago, it would have impacted either the budget allocation, or it would have impacted the way you're hiring people, maybe anything.
Okay, so let me go first then. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Businessworld, for the opportunity. Yes, first of all, it was pretty interesting topic, and it made us think harder, because usually we are so optimistic about our positives and what is going well for us. We hardly step back, take notice, and see what has maybe gone wrong. So maybe it's a great opportunity for also to reflect back. One thing that, as you said, let me take an example from my particular industry. I come from an FMCG industry, and one thing which I felt that maybe I could have given more importance, or maybe in a way I missed the opportunity, not completely, but at least I could have done it better, is the whole buzz about quick commerce, like we were discussing backstage, because for our segment, because I come from a grocery, FMCG space, oil space, maybe some time back we were all shrugging off the whole chatter about why would someone need a staple in 10 minutes. I mean, we are happy booking our visits once in a month, और हम तो grocery shopping महीने में एक बार कर लेते हैं, सारा महीना चल जाता है. So there were a lot of chatter that maybe this model will not work, there will be no P&L profitability, it's not sustainable. And even us, we think that maybe you would need a pizza in 30 minutes, or maybe you are hungry, you need something to eat in 20-25 minutes. But aata dal chawal to is pre-planned. I mean, I don't need it in 20 minutes. To the surprise that in my personal, at my home, I order through quick commerce 5 times in a day.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, because my mother is ordering something, my wife is ordering something, I'm ordering something, and this is pretty much every day there is almost Zepto or a Blinkit is happening at my house in 5 times throughout the day. Wow. So that is one of the biggest opportunity we felt. Maybe we initially thought that maybe it will not work as it's working right now, and that took us off guard. And now we have maybe started taking it much, much more seriously. We were focusing more on the horizontal players like Amazon and Flipkart, but now we realize that maybe, and a couple of these channels have even crossed for us. If I can say this, Blinkit is now bigger than some of these horizontal players. So we have seen that market share erosion that is happening across the horizontal player and moving to the quick commerce player. And now we have started allocating more budget to the quick commerce. And that's my fundamental feeling that what happened from 2016 to 2024, we have seen a lot of brands that are built on Amazon, a lot of brands that are built on Flipkart. It not be surprising that the next set of brands would be built on Zeptos or the Blinkit of the world in the next 4 to 5 years. These platforms are going to be so big that if I just master these, or if I get my inroads into these platforms, there's an opportunity. The next line of brands will be built on quick commerce. So I think that's one of the opportunity which I felt that in last 1 year. Now I know that I would have spent more budget. I would have had more meetings with those category managers to get my more product listings done.
That's excellent. So I have something to tell to the audience. The Imperial Hotel was built many, many, many years ago. The walls over here are old colonial times. अगर आप पीछे whisper भी करेंगे ना, तो हमें यहाँ पे बहुत अच्छे से सुनाई देगा. So whoever it was that was bargaining behind, it's okay, just pay the guy, it's all right. Not a big deal. So I'm going to request Shailesh. In the background, Shailesh, could you just ensure that they are not disturbing my dear panelists? That's it. I like it when it's nice and quiet.
I think, Noor, I just want to add to what we were just now discussing. And I think there are a couple of things that I was thinking about. One, obviously, I'm picking up from quick commerce in terms of an avenue of building a brand, right? And today, and a year back, we never thought of the kind of capabilities that quick commerce would bring to the table. Not only from a brand revenue perspective, but from the kind of dimensions it can give to a brand, from the kind of targeted sampling opportunities that quick commerce offers to marketeers today for a new product launch. And I kind of agree that when we used to do launches earlier, a year back, Amazon, Flipkart used to be the go-to, platforms to test and get feedback. Today, that loop happens much faster with quick commerce, and that's enabling marketers in a very different way. So I think that's one point I want to make here.
Excellent.
And there's another point which I was just thinking about, that our country runs on sentiments, and like you said, there have been a few surprises last year, and those sentiments may have shifted. What that does imply for us as marketeers also is in terms of maybe even when we look at endorsers of the brand, there are certain values and there are certain value shifts that happen very quickly when sentiments change in the country. And I think that is something that we as marketeers will need to pick up very quickly, because there has been a shift last year in terms of the sentiment. And I mean, let's take cricket as an example. I mean, an endorsement through, say, Sachin, he embodied a certain set of values to Virat. They're both great players, but the values are very different, right? And sometimes I feel that in the last year, there's been that sentiment shift. So as marketeers, we have to be sensitive to that, and that's a larger point that I also wanted to bring to the table.
That's excellent. I see both those. I can understand now why they wanted to go first.
Yeah. So I think the challenge of speaking last is that all the good things have been spoken about, but nevertheless. So I think 2-3 big markers for me to point out. That I think the way the consumers are doing the purchases, that entire process is undergone a lot of change thanks to technology and the expectation now that the consumers have. Now people are more adept in handling even say complex like decisions. And thanks to technology, find the number of players now that a consumer has in this entire game has kind of expanded. Now that is a challenge, because if earlier that as a marketer, if I had to be present on 6 touch points, now there may be 8, 10 or maybe more. And each of them are so complex. Now the consumer is grappling and they are quite comfortable in handling even the complex like situations and decisions. So I think it's the challenge for the marketers that how you are being like present across the spectrum of the touch points and how you are able to help the consumers to make the choice. Now the interesting bit is that still a lot of like touch points are new and they are still kind of evolving. Now how do you evolve with the evolving thing that is happening already? Because people expect you to be there, people are there and you have to be there. So I think it's a challenge to run at the speed with the technology is like running, because you really have to be there, because that is where the consumers are now.
All right, great. So I'm going to summarize the broad points over here, all right? Quick commerce continued, coming to direct technology, and then consumer sentiment. We'll come to consumer sentiment later. Let's start with technology. Last year, this time, we were going on and on about the lovely Gen AI and how it's going to take over all of our lives, mine included. I am still here, thankfully. But we have not seen Gen AI work really take over any creative industry, including marketing. Now, where is the problem? Is the problem on the technology side of it, our understanding of it, resistance, where and what is going wrong here? Who wants to go first? Mukesh, Sumeet, you want to go first?
Okay.
It's the white hair, huh? The G happened when I was there.
Yeah. No, I think, I think AI is here to stay, right? And I think, fine, like I said, that is still kind of evolving, right? So I think, till the time it kind of like reaches a stage of like maturity, so people really have to like learn to find to live with it. For example, for ourselves, I can speak about that the chatbot that we have on our website, now it's a conversational tool of AI. Now, the thing is that we are like training it to answer like a human expert on technology, right? And that is what people are now kind of more adapted to using it, right? So I think that, that we have like green shoots, there are like baby steps that have been taken, and and I think for our industry, the whole bit of the information, the knowledge, how you are able to like distill it, that's meaningful for the consumers. Fine. So we at least use a lot of AI tools internally, and for the consumer like connect. Fine. So I think like for us, it's like it's a journey, and it's just like started, and I think it's got a long way to go. It's a marathon.
That's a lovely answer because इन्होंने वक्त पे डाल दिया. The problem is the time. We don't have enough time. Anybody wanted to add to that? Anything? All right, let's look at it. 1 year from today, will I still be asking you, where the hell is Gen AI?
Yeah, I think, yes, ho sakta hai. Yes, I'll be honest about it because I think as marketeers, as agencies, we all feel we add a lot of value when we do creative stuff or marketing stuff, right? Yeah, and to us, AI becomes that element which we cannot think of can replace us, right? It can only enhance certain abilities. And in that journey, I think we're all taking baby steps, right? We are trying it in stuff like you mentioned the case of a chatbot. We're looking at some social posts, how that can, and let's test and see what's the kind of response that we happen. Some are doing it in terms of designing also, right? Designing of packs, all of that is happening. But I feel there is still not enough confidence that the community has right now. And frankly, that's on the back of not a lot of experimentation happening from our side. So I think if that comes in, we will be much more learned a year later. But at the current pace that I see us doing it, I don't see that happening, right? So because what is happening is AI, I believe, is coming to us as a force that's all pervasive, and it can do multiple things, and it can add value at multiple points and not one singular thing. So everybody is trying to see what's the right place to plug in AI and see the impact that it can bring. And hence I think you're seeing it more diffused versus a sharper, focused impact. So that's my take at this point.
I love it, Kunal.
No, I completely agree. See, AI is here to stay. See, what is happening in the last 1.5 year about the chat GPT, the entire chatter about is that the trailer was fantastic. And we got swayed away by the trailer. Okay, oh my God, this is going to change the world. But every technology, it's not just about the chat GPT, even the internet, it takes time to build the ecosystem around it. It starts from the talent. So because it's such a short duration, we don't have intrinsically, it's not taught in engineering schools. While we are learning Java or .NET or HTML, it's not taught. So there is no talent pool available. It has to be self-learned. So that will take some time for the talent to come in. Second is the application. So while it broadly showed that, okay, these are 2, 3, 4 points which it can touch. Now for various industries, they're trying to figure out how can it impact my industry? How can marketing be impacted? How can customer service be impacted? How can my consumer experiences can be evolved using that GPT? So that needs to be figured out, and it usually takes some time. It's like getting a new product. You need to first get the R&D 100% sure, and then you release the product. So there obviously you don't want to get a half-baked product out in the market. So there are a lot of backward work is happening behind, which I know for sure we've been trying to use that. But yes, right now we don't have a final product which we can release. And the third, I feel that again, because this technology is also in the nascent stage, while it promised what it can do, but at the moment it's not doing what it's promising. What has gone, the data that has gone behind these large language models, it's a black box, right? We don't know what data has been fed into these black boxes. So sometimes even the answers that's been coming out of these ChatGPT models or generative AIs, it's not factually correct. So we're still taking it with a pinch of salt that maybe I may go wrong, so let me get it slow. Instead of putting a prompt to ChatGPT and saying, see, this is what it has done, but factually it can still be wrong. Because I don't know kaun se data set pe usko train kiya gaya hai. So that training will take its time. So I think what, as of now in the last 1.5 years, it has told that what it's capable of doing. It's like what, if I'm a cricket fan, so I usually bring that analogy. It's like what Shubman Gill has promised something. Has he delivered it right now? Maybe not. But it has promised that maybe he's going to the next Indian captain, right? What Rohit Sharma was in 2011. So it's a good trailer, it's a good promise, but it will take its own sweet time. But I'm sure it would be much shorter than the previous technologies. In next 2-3 years, I think if we meet again here, we'll have much better examples for that.
Chale, we'll remember that. the next point that you had made was consumer sentiment. Now, there was a bit of a disparity in consumer sentiment. There was consumer sentiment perception in the first half of, say, the year, and then later now, we are going through, for want of a better word, reality check. Where did we miss the bus? Why did we miss these signs? As marketers, as businesses, even like for my case, as journalists, my brethren was also reporting very good numbers in terms of economic growth, etc. And then, we are looking at what's going on. So why did we miss it? Aisa kya hua tha? Any points on that? Why did we all just believe it's all looking kind of good until it did not?
So I don't know if this could be summarized completely, but yes, there are some certain segments where maybe it has not built out. And I think factor which I feel that, and because our industry do get impacted by that, is a lot because of the turmoil that is happening in the global scenarios. So when we talk about India right now, no country is in isolation working on their own, right? We are dependent on what's happening across the world. And we have seen in the last 1 or 2 years what the socio-economic or the political scenarios which is happening. There's 2 or 3 wars being fought in last 1 year. There's been inflation, there's been recession, there's been instability. There's even in European countries, not UAE, United, those kind of countries, there's a war situation. So I think that does impact the sentiment, and then there's a ripple effect that follows through. If I saw particularly about the oil as an industry, sunflower oil is largely coming from Ukraine and Russia. And now those countries at war, there is suddenly a shortage. And then everyone is looking for palm oil in Malaysia. And then Malaysia is not able to meet those demands. So they're starting ban on exports. So it's a ripple effect. So something that started in maybe in US or Russia or Ukraine will follow through. And maybe that's where a lot of businesses take, again, the slow steps happen, that maybe let this situation fade away, or maybe let things improve a bit. And then maybe it's a ripple effect of sentiments. So even as a consumer, I might postpone my purchase journey. Wait karte hain. Let me think, let things figure it out.
But
so I think
it looked like we were facing some real challenges, or we continue to. Unemployability le lijiye as a concept. Creativity, marketing, they should solve the problems. They should not just business problems, society problems, consumer problems. Now, we as an industry, we are not doing anything about some of these. Are we being short-sighted? Is the pressure of the ROI so much that we really are forgetting the big picture, or what marketing and creativity is supposed to be at its core? What's really going on? Shall we put our goodbye Kunal in this?
Sure. No, I think it'll not be right to say that, businesses are focusing more on ROI. So a couple of things I was just thinking when you said the sentiment analysis, even AI got it wrong. So that probably sometimes, puts questions in mind. But having said that, I think it's important for brands to play a role, or I would say to understand the sentiment and play a positive role in that, right? As brands, I don't think anything is good or bad. Sentiment is the reality, right? As brands, we look at it that way. Our role should be to fuel, basis the sentiment, more positive messaging in our consumers' lives. And I think when I look at it from a consumer lens, that's how we should see it, right? And I'm saying all of us got it wrong in terms of the sentiment. The markets reacted in a certain way the day that happened, because that's definitely something that was not expected. But having said that, there is a recoil, and you saw India is a resilient nation. So India the markets reacted and came back. So I think resilience remains at the core, and I believe that whatever be the sentiment, the core fabric of society remains broadly protected. And as brands, we should look at it from that long term, while we do a lot of social listening to understand undercurrents. Let me give you an example. When we were doing a campaign when this whole Kolkata incident unfortunately happened, and as brands, you are already in the midst of a campaign, and this suddenly happens and the sentiment changes. As a brand, it is important to be empathetic of the messaging. And that's when brands are looked at positively, that if there is something which is kind of going against the sentiment, you definitely need to understand and appreciate that. right? So I'm saying these things do happen, but as brands, it's always important, I feel, to listen and push positivity into the fabric. That definitely, in the long run, helps brands and businesses. I mean, that's my few cents on this.
Just several linings from the point of it, that it paints a positive picture. I like that.
No, I think that the consumers are like cautious now, right? And there's whole lot of like noise also around, because information, there's just so much of information kind of overload. So you hear a lot of like noise also. So I think it's important to like dissect the noise and to stay focused on the core. Now, as a brand, you will always have still a purpose for a brand. And it's always like rooted in the consumer and in the society. So as long as you're being a Puritan, a follower to your like brand purpose, fine. So I think there's very little chance that you can be wrong. Because it's a reflection, and as an ongoing thing, you would always be evaluating on an ongoing basis and reflecting the changes that you may need to do to your brand. So as long as you stay true to the brand purpose, and your brand purpose can change with times and with culture, so I think then it's fine, because that is the whole purpose, to serve the consumers and in turn the society.
All right, excellent. I like that.
Noor, I just wanted to take one add-on point on this. I mean, this is how, it's playing out. You look at our Olympics performance this year. What was the headline? The headline said that, are we not doing enough to get more medals? But at the end of the day, if you look at the one medal we missed because of what happened, we did as well as we did last year, the year before. So the sentiment reflects in the kind of read that society is giving back, or that's the kind of conversation that's happening. We're not doing well enough. But at the end of the day, there's a sustenance also that's happening. It was as good a performance as the last Olympic. I'm still trying to give the silver lining, but those are things which I kind of see, and then I see, this is where the sentiment has moved a little bit.
Because of the expectation, probably. We set a certain expectation, and then it's the last leg of our conversation, and it's about advice. Advice that you would have given to your 1 year younger self. Or it could be advice that you want to give to yourself right now, so that the next time we are having this conversation, we can say, ki kuch to gadbad nahi kari thi last year, I had a perfect year. So who wants to go first on this? I would like all of you, on the last 4 minutes, I didn't realize that. So he can answer anything. Kunal, just go to the mic.
I just got a thought, so I said I may as well. No, it's a little bit of a different perspective, and I'm saying this from the perspective of a marketeer. I think because it's been such a learning for us in terms of sentiment, I believe that it's also very important for us as marketers to have a very close ear to the ground. And I think as marketeers, sales and the sales teams of our organizations are the best ear.
Excellent.
Yeah. And I think that's where a lot of it can funnel back to us, and we have, ears on the ground. I think that, to me, is one big thing that I would change for myself in terms of enhancing that ear on the ground through my sales team as a marketer. That's one thing I would.
Excellent. Enhancing ear on the ground. We got our advice number 1. आप repeat नहीं कर सकते, आपको पता है?
Yeah, no, I think that I would say that it's best to stay with the basics, stay focused on the consumers, and see that how you can help the consumers to like navigate the complex world that he or she is now into. As long as you're able to kind of like do that and help your consumers to navigate the challenges they have, the needs they have, so I think that we should be home.
I love that answer. Our theme this year is ABC, authenticity, basics, and the collective. So, Sumeet, we are getting along. You are up, Mukesh.
Yes, one advice, first and foremost, I think every year we should give ourselves some advice. We should not continue to not look back. That moment has to be it a good year or bad year, it will always teach us something. So we should always give something, learn and give ourselves advice. I think one thing is that what increasingly is happening in the entire digital ecosystem, which all of us are product of, from a marketing lens, I would say I or maybe many more people should stop thinking that sales and marketing is different. Now, marketeers are increasingly wearing the hat of a salesperson. What's happening on e-commerce, the sales, it's the marketing who's directly driving the sales. The salesperson is more of an operational person who's ensuring that my product is available. But sales is actually done by marketing. So if I only feel that my only job is to build the brand and get the TOMA right or the awareness scores right, my job ends there, I'm not responsible for sales, I think that's not the right way to look at it now in today's time. So marketers should feel that they are also responsible for sales, and that's how you will add up to the whole P&L of the business, and everyone can grow together. Another point which I think can be added here is that and this slightly generic and little broad point is that we should have the right metrics to chase. And this maybe connects back to your previous question, what we are thinking that what's going wrong or what maybe has gone wrong is that a lot of businesses did start in India, they did came to the picture, but they picked the wrong metrics to define the success. The success was defined by the number of valuation or how much valuation they have raised or how much funds they have raised from the VCs. Their success was defined by that, is that if I'm able to raise a $50 million from a VC, that's success. But actually that's the wrong metrics. So maybe what has happened is that people were just thinking, okay, I have performance marketing, which is the new buzzword in the town. Yeah, performance marketing mein main kar sakta hu. I can hire a resource and I can build a brand and I can raise the VC money. And that was the wrong metrics that everyone was chasing. Now suddenly when the winter came, it all collapsed. So from day one, I was measuring or building business from a different point of view. And then that's when the reality check happens, that maybe I never looked the EBITDA. I was always, has to be EBITDA positive, or at least not in the shorter run, but at least in a 2-year or 3-year horizon, there has to be some sense that there has to be a target set, that I have to be EBITDA positive. I cannot just get my valuations high and continue to run my CAC, because what will happen is that once you have hundreds of brands advertising on the same Meta and YouTube and Google, your CAC is going to go up. The CAC was lower in 2016 because there were 5 brands. Now there are 500 brands. So that was I don't know why this story was missed out. Why television is expensive today? Because everyone wanted to advertise on television. But at the time when that maturity will come, the CAC is going to go up. So if you have not factored that CAC, that my CAC is going to go up, I have to figure out some way to reduce my expenses and get an EBITDA positive, then I'm not building the business in the right way. So I think these kind of reality checks will help businesses to sort out their P&L as well.
Excellent. Let me see if I got it right. So we started off with listen, observe, and absorb better. That's the advice you want to give to the team. Stay to the basics. The core has to be strong. Excellent advice. And then 2 pieces of advice from Mukesh, which was excellent. First, you have to obviously look at the role of marketing as a growth engine. And love that conversation simply because the CEOs are, there are CEOs, not all CEOs, who do complain that what is my CMO doing? So that's a good way of looking at it. And identify the correct metrics. I think most important. You have to look what you want to ruthlessly prioritize as your area that you're going to judge yourself on. So I do hope next time when we have this conversation, we have more than just silver linings and really those bright shoots. But thank you. This was excellent. Our time's up. May I request everybody for a loud round of applause for my panelists? Excellent.